How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the old school Q&A summary. Thank you everyone for liking last week's video. It did end up getting over 1,000 likes, and as promised, my mum let me stay up until 2 and got me a McDonald's. As a show of my gratitude and desperation to please the algorithm, if we can hit 1,000 likes on this summary, I will make next week's in Microsoft PowerPoint, and it will be a damn good summary as well. This week's Q&A featured mods Bruno, Monroe, Gambit, Kieran, and a new content developer who just joined the team, Mod Tide. Tide joined the team on Monday and said that he'd been playing RuneScape since 2006. Before getting into the questions, Gambit mentioned that the team will soon be releasing the Jar of Chemicals as a drop from the Alchemical Hydra. This jar will be used to create the Hydra display in your player-owned house. Gambit also plugged the Chambers of Xeric blog, which is currently live on the old school homepage. It was written by Ash and details a number of both balancing and quality of life changes that the team would like to make to raids. And finally, Gambit mentioned that later on this week, a warding survey will be going out to the inboxes of about 50,000 players to help them gather feedback on the proposed skill. Now, just before the questions began, Mod Tide was swapped out for a very special guest, Chris Archie. Some of you might remember Chris from his old PK videos, his top 10 series, or his skinny to muscular video series. Apparently, he is now a Jagex mod. Crazy. Gambit started off this week's questions with a focus on PvP. First up, what is the status of the Bounty Hunter rework discussed at RuneFest? Mod Archie said that the team did not currently have a competitive gaming developer, but with the addition of Mod Tide as well as another developer very soon, he expects to see more progress on that front. Gambit added that the design is being worked on and the team would like to involve some of the highest ranked bounty hunters in the process. Chris then described the task system for Bounty Hunter and asked viewers for feedback and suggestions.
An NPC would look at your account, assess your stats and your build, and then give you a task. So maybe if you're a maxed main, it would look at you and say, kill your next target with a full set of barrows equipped. You have to get half the barrow set equipped as you kill the opponent, and that's it. You get your points, rewards.
Ian Spam asked for an update on any Deadman changes. Chris said that there is no shortage of ideas for Deadman, but again, there is currently no dedicated developer for competitive content. However, he did mention that we can expect to hear something about Deadman next week. C Engineer asked if a sound could be added for when Teleblock wears off. Kieran and Chris both liked the idea. C Engineer also requested a timer to show how much longer you have to attack someone who has just re-entered a safe zone in a PvP world. Chris liked the idea a lot, however Mod Bruno had concerns about its feasibility. Another player asked if the water fountains in Lumbridge could be disabled on PvP worlds, as there are hordes of bots using it to refill vials. Kieran said that it would be possible to have the fountain dry up on PvP worlds. And moving on to the non-PvP questions, a number of players asked why the Bone Whip was not included in the recent content poll. The Bone Whip was a proposed level 72 weapon which would not degrade, and was created by combining the Abyssal Whip with the Hydra Tail. Gambit said that the team didn't feel that it was the right time or place to add the Bone Whip. It felt out of place, and concerns voiced by the community caused the team to reconsider its inclusion. The team were also asked what they thought of the alternate designs proposed by the community, such as the Bone Flail. The mod seemed to like them and said that they may be possible in the future. At this point, Kieran also brought up a problem with whips in PvP. One was the lack of reward for successfully killing someone for their tentacle whip. You only get the Kraken Tentacle as a drop, which is worth very little when you compare it to the whip that they lost. The other issue was with the Lava and Ice whip recolors. Because they're not tradable, if you drop them when you're about to die, you can just run back and pick them up. Kieran suggested preventing players from dropping the whips or making the variants tradable. Splendid asked if new high-level skilling methods which award GP over experience could be added, particularly for woodcutting, fishing, and mining. All of the mods agreed that this is something worth doing. Ghost of Lost Time asked if hops could be made more useful, perhaps with a brewing update. Kieran said that there is a rework for brewing which is being proposed, but it's a large job and their team would need a solid idea of what brewing can add to the game before they committed to such a large task. Right now, Biz only really offer a few small skilling boosts, often not even the best boosts available. A chat pleb asked what the team think about the Constitution update being added to Old School. You may remember Constitution as the suddenly everything is multiplied by 10 update. No one on the stream was in favour of the change and they felt that there was little to gain from doing it. Cleo asked what the team thought about the lack of bosses where magic is the primary combat style. Kieran said that he would love to do another boss where magic is involved, but magic currently sucks when it comes to standard combat. He pointed out that a lot can be done with magic, like different types of spells, but the DPS never even comes close to that of ranged. Mod Archie asked the other mods what they thought about nerfing ranged rather than buffing magic to try and close the gap. Kieran said that he thought it should be a bit of both, and all of the mods felt that the blowpipe should be nerfed in some way. Raiden asked if the team are still planning to make melee weapons more viable when killing the Alchemical Hydra. Monroe said that the mechanics of the boss would have people bringing a ranged weapon even when they're using melee, and Bruno said that he's seen several people using primarily melee, and they're doing just fine. The mods agreed that the boss is fine as it is. Mr. Prez asked if the Farming Guild doors fix could be implemented in the Barrows tunnels to help more than one person pass through doors at the same time. Monroe said that the NPCs in the area would cause issues with this change, adding that it would prevent people from spamming the doors to spawn monsters and Barrows brothers. Neon asked for the team's thoughts on expanding the prayer book. He suggested a toned down version of the ancient prayers. Kieran said that he doesn't see any reason to add ancient prayers even if they were toned down. He's open to new suggestions for the top end of the scale, but he doesn't want to push the meta forward for no reason. At this point, Kieran changed the topic to run energy in old school. He said that at higher levels, once you get graceful and have stamina potions, run energy is fine, but at lower levels and in free-to-play, run energy is an absolute menace. The team strawpolled adding a rest option, and 54% of people voted yes, with 46% voting no. Destin asked if Black D'hide could be nerfed, in particular its magic defense. Kieran said that he agreed Black D'hide is really strong for its price, but pointed out that it's only really an issue in PvP scenarios, and it isn't possible to have equipment provide different stats for PvP and PvM combat. Mod Archie brought up the issue of people being able to use ranged weapons with melee armor without any significant effect on their damage output. Kieran asked the chat what they would think about rebalancing the negative range bonus of melee equipment to punish rangers more while they're wearing it. The chat reacted positively to the idea. Julia asked what kind of changes can or cannot be hotfixed and why. Kieran said that if it's server script, they can hotfix it, but if it's content which has been downloaded onto your client, it can only be cold fixed. They can work around it sometimes, but not always. A player asked if a headhunter NPC could be added to old school. This NPC would let you trade your spare Cowfight Queen and KBD heads for a chance at the pet or some Slayer experience. The mods were not keen on this idea, and Kieran said that he would rather see the heads cashed in for Slayer points. Roman asked if Otto the Barbarian could teach us to smash jugs. Kieran said that it wouldn't be hard to add if it's something that people would like. Victor asked if the standard spellbook could be improved as it's abysmal for PKing. Mod Archie was very passionately in favour of improving the spellbook, and Gabbett said yes, they would like to buff the spellbook. Derp asked if the Konar keys drop could be made less immersion breaking. They suggested a stone tablet which Konar gives you, on which your character adds a notch when they feel Konar would approve of their efforts. Kieran said he doesn't feel like it makes much of a difference either way. And Amina asked if the sections in the collection log could have their header turn green upon completion. The mod said that they could do this, but they're not confident people will actually complete a section anytime soon, let alone multiple. A chat pleb asked if Jagex mods could nerf or buff people's accounts. Kieran said that he does it all the time, just for fun. In fact, here's the clip so you can see for yourself.
We don't even tell you, we just don't like you, so we turn down your look there before. Yeah.
Chinook asked if the magic secateurs could act for farming contracts, as the Slayer gem does for Slayer tasks. The mods like the idea, but they would prefer that Guildmaster Jane just give you a scroll to provide you with that information, rather than tying it to the secateurs. A player asked what the mods think about Iron Men paying clans to protect them at the Rev Caves. Mod Archie said that it's obviously an issue and it goes against the spirit of Iron Man mode, but he isn't sure how the team would be able to monitor it. The other mods said that as unfortunate as it is, these kinds of issues will always exist to some degree due to the multiplayer nature of old school. Satama asked if an Elite Void helmet and gloves could be added to complete the set. The mods asked what they would expect the items to do other than look different. And the final question of the week, the famous hacker known as 4chan asked if a storyline tying Lizardmen to Ham members could be added. Kieran said that the Lizardmen are not related to Ham whatsoever. Anyway, that is all for this week. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to subscribe to Chris Archie Prods for more top 10s, and I will see you next time.